All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We are so excited to have a few different senior Rubies on to share about how we use Facebook and social media to build our Plexus business. You're going to hear from a few different people. We each have similar traits, color personality traits, and some differences as well. So it's going to be good to get different perspectives and hear how everybody is building their business and using the tools that we have to be successful. So I'm going to go around and let each person introduce themselves, and then we'll go ahead and share some of our favorite tips. I'm Stacey Fraley. I'm a Senior Ruby Ambassador, and I live outside of Raleigh, North Carolina. Ashlie, do you want to go ahead and go next?
Sure. My name's Ashlie Thomsen, and I live in northern Minnesota by the Canadian border. We move a lot, so Plexus has been a blessing for me. I think I've been in 3 different states, 4 moves since I've done Plexus, and I have been a Plexus ambassador for almost 4 years. I'm a senior Ruby too. Very blessed.
And what were you doing before Plexus?
I was a registered nurse for over 10 years and working the 3 12-hour shifts a week.
Okay, great. Chandra, do you want to go ahead and share next?
Sure. I'm a senior Ruby with Plexus. I've been part of this for 3 years, actually this month, so it's kind of exciting. Before Plexus, I was actually a teacher. I taught for 16 years elementary school, and I have a master's degree, and I'm one of those people who likes to research everything. So in the terms of color personalities, I'm definitely a red first, but a close green second. Just excited to be here. Thanks for inviting me, Stacey.
Yeah, I'm excited to get to know all of you better and be able to share with our teams. Okay, so Ansley, do you want to go ahead and share as well?
Sure. My name is Ainsley Summerville. I am also a senior Ruby. I have been with Plexus for about 17 months, and I live in England. I am a military spouse, and so I do my business from overseas, and it's been a complete blessing for us. Before Plexus, I was a tired, broke mom. That's it.
Okay, great. So, and what color would you say you are?
I definitely resonate with the reds. I'm definitely a red personality.
Okay, so we've got a lot of reds, we've got a little green, a little yellow, and some blue as well, all mixed in. So hopefully you'll get to hear a variety of different perspectives. Like I said, I'm a senior Ruby ambassador. I'm going on my 3rd year right now, and before Plexus, I was a teacher. First, I was a classroom teacher, and then I was a media specialist or a librarian, and Plexus just kind of fell into my lap. I started just for the products and quickly found out how amazing the business side was, and I couldn't help but get excited about it and share with people too. So I'm excited. I love using social media. I was very shy before Plexus. I was not very comfortable just going up and talking to people. So Facebook was the perfect tool for me to be able to kind of hide behind my computer and use technology, which I loved anyhow, and be able to share and grow my team. So using messages and things like that, and not really getting too outside my comfort zone. But over the years, I've learned some tips and tricks of things that really work well for me in my business and using social media. So one thing I would just caution against is sharing posts. You'll see a lot of amazing posts out there people have, and we have this One Plexus community where you can always save somebody's post. You can go into your phone or on your computer, and there's a little arrow down next to each post where you can save the post. And I do that a lot. When I am scrolling late at night, I scroll and I save it. But what you want to make sure you don't do is click that share button. It's so tempting. It's so easy to just click share. But I've had this happen before where I've ended up with ambassadors and customers that don't belong to me because somebody shared my post. They end up then on my page seeing my stuff and on my website. It also just looks really salesy. So, you want to tweak it. You want to make it your own. So I'll save the text, or I might copy and paste it. I always read through it though. I've had people copy and paste my stuff where you can totally tell they copied my stuff word for word. One thing said something about like having a little boy, and the lady shared mine and she didn't have a little boy. It's like obvious things like that. So read through what you're sharing before you just click share, before you copy that text. Another thing that I found too is a lot of times people copy the whole thing and they have the same exact hashtags, like hashtags blessed by Plexus, or if you copy like every single hashtag and don't change it at all, then if people happen to click on those hashtags, they're going to see the same post over and over and over again. And what does that say? It shows that we're just copying something over and over again. It's not original. It just looks kind of canned, looks salesy. So if you are going to copy it, change the hashtags or delete them. Just kind of make it your own. Interactive posts. I feel like I'm really strong in making things interactive, making them exciting. I used to be horrible. I used to just put ad after ad of Plexus things, but I've learned kind of how to reel it back in and make sure that I'm really interacting. I have a lot of Facebook friends now, but I need to make sure that I'm actually reaching out and communicating and them seeing my stuff, or, you know, I'm not really doing what I want to be doing with my Facebook business, with my Facebook post. So I go through and many times will think of interactive things all the time. Like I'm like in the shower, I think of something, or I'm driving and I come up with a question in my head. I'm like, oh, that would be a good Facebook post. And I just kind of save them in like a little memory bank, or I write them down. One that worked really well a few weeks ago was I asked about people in their dishwashers. Do you put your fork tines up or down? Like little things, you know, I'm loading the dishwasher, unloading the dishwasher. What do you do? Who knew? I had well over 100 people comment on it, and people get really opinionated about which way their forks go in their dishwasher, and they want to tell you. People want to be entertained. They want to interact with you on Facebook. They don't want to see a lot of drama and everything else. They want it to be fun. So think about that. I asked the other day about like, what kind of shoes would you wear? If you could only wear one kind of shoes for forever, what kind of shoes would you want to wear? Something where people can interact, where they can give you their advice or opinion. Over the weekend, I had a question about which Disney park to go to, so I posted it like I always do, because, you know, I could just reach out to my friends that I know about Disney, but this way I got a whole bunch of other people giving their opinions, sharing information that don't normally interact with me. And what I can tell is when random people that I haven't seen for years on Facebook are commenting or liking it, is that they're seeing my Plexus stuff too. So that's really important because I'm engaging all different people. I'm asking a variety of different questions. So like I said earlier, I've gone through now. I had a good amount of friends when I started, but I was really, really hesitant to friend a bunch of people. I got over that. I got way over that. And now I have, I don't know, about 3,600 friends. And my husband makes fun of me all the time. He's like, do you even know these people? Well, no, I don't. I don't know a lot of them, but I really want to expand my network. I've been doing this almost 3 years, so I'm at the point now where, you know, a lot of people are still watching and joining that have been watching all along, but I need to kind of get out of my normal bubble. So I friend a bunch of people, and then I go through and I look to see, like, maybe who's a nurse, maybe who's a teacher and could use the extra money. You know, people are complaining about different ailments, and I make sure that I either go through and I see them first, or I get notifications on them. With Facebook, you can go through and you can put like a little star next to them. So I think it's 20 people, 30 people, something like that you can see first. And then I rotate those out first so that I can see what they're doing and I can really interact with them, because I need to be building and working on those relationships. That way I can like their posts, I can comment on them, and that makes it so that we're engaging. I also go through and get notifications on those people that I really want to make sure I stay in touch with. And then one other thing that I always say to everybody is making sure what you're sharing about on Facebook is positive, or it's not all gloom and doom. You know, we are sharing health and wellness and happiness. And if one moment you're talking about how amazing Slim is and how much energy you have and how great you slept, and then an hour or so later you're telling about like how you have to go get coffee and you feel awful and it's the worst day ever and you've got a headache, and like, it just doesn't match. So really think about what you're putting out there, what kinds of things you're sharing, and how it's going to be received by your audience. So those are some of my tips that I had written down. Let's see. Ashlie, do you want to go ahead next and share some of your tips?
Sure. And I forgot to say earlier, I am a blue with some yellow. Being the nurse in me, I love helping people. But Facebook, I love Facebook. So I started back in 2013, a long time ago, and I remember making my first Facebook post, and when I hit send, I was like, or post, I was so nervous, but I was overwhelmed with all the positive I got out of my friends and family. But I Plexus vomited all over everyone. I started posting like 10 times a day. I'm not kidding you. I was annoying. I added people to groups without asking them. I mean, I was probably what you shouldn't do. But I do believe that you're either going to get either punished or you're going to get rewarded when you start doing that. If you have not poured into other people and really been a presence on Facebook, when you start and change and hit the join button and start posting Plexus, people are either going to be receptive to that or not. So there is definitely some ways that you need to engage with your audience, you know, like Stacey said, but I see people go two different ways as well. Either start puking Plexus like I did, and they just totally ignore their personal life. Again, you know, it all becomes like a big sales ad, or they're so scared of what people think they don't post at all. And I think there has to be a healthy balance. So I like to tell people, you know, make your Facebook your journal. When you start, you do not have to turn into a salesperson, and people really do not want to see anyways a picture of the product and all the ingredients. That's not what they care about. They care about you and what it's done for you and what it could do for them. So when you start posting, really think, if you were not with Plexus and you had no clue, would you respond to that post? And if your answer is yes, then it's probably a really good post. I had one of my new ambassadors that did awesome. She did a tape measure Tuesday, and she got so much response from that, and people loved it, you know, and Monday motivation, and people loved following her journey. I did one today, just before and after, about, I was probably weighing the same when I was 25, but my face was so like puffy and swollen, and what a difference it was today. And some of the wording I actually did copy from another one. What I do is, you know, I see the Plexus people posting the exact same post the same day. Do you ever see that? Like, you'll see the same person. I will save it and I send it to myself in Messenger, actually. And you know, you can use your notes section on your phone, Evernote, whatever works for you. And I will save it there, and then I'll wait. And then someday, you know, I'm like, okay, what should I post? I'll go to that and I will pick a post out that hasn't been used in a while, and I'll make it my own and, you know, applying to me. So that's another good option. And then I, you know, try to do at least one personal and one Plexus post a day. So if you're someone that joined and you really weren't active on Facebook, then now's the time, like, you know, Stacey said, start friend requesting, but start sharing more of your personal journey. You know, keep it at least one Plexus post and one personal post a day, and maybe a motivational post. You really want to kind of mix it up. And then for the people that are scared to post, you know, they're like, oh, I'll post as soon as I get a story, or, you know, I'll post as soon. For that type of person that's scared, I just say do it, because your friends love you, they support you. And I just think, what if my friends never told me and they waited, you know, like, how would you feel if you hadn't found it? So I always tell people, just be yourself. If you're scared, just put it out there and tell people you're scared. You know, I don't normally post this sort of thing, but I have to tell you. And I think that's what I got for right now, and I'll just leave it at that and let the other girls add to that.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's really important, you know, really just kind of sharing your journey. I puked Plexus a lot too. You know, when I go back now, my time hop, I look at it and I'm like really embarrassed. No wonder why people unfriended me and like, you know, were afraid when I'd come near them, because it was really bad for a while. So I think that's good tips, just starting slow too. And, you know, your upline's always going to be there. If you don't know what to post or share, ask. They can help you come up with your first few posts and give you some tips and give you some love on your post too. So yeah, just make sure you're friending out, you're using the supports that you have within Plexus, because we definitely have an amazing company that's very, very supportive of us. Okay, Chandra, do you want to go ahead and go next?
Sure. So, you know, when I sit and think about Facebook, obviously I've been around doing this for 3 years now, and the way I do it now is very different than the way I started, similar to some of your stories. But probably the main thing that I think about now, or if I'm training someone new, is to remind them that everything that's on Facebook, everything you put in social media reflects your story. And I'm not just talking Plexus, I'm talking about your life story. So you are branding yourself every post you make. And I always say it like this: your vibe attracts your tribe. So if you are wanting go-getters and positive and healthy and focused and people who are God-loving, or, you know, whatever it is you want to attract, that's what you should be posting about. So I don't just say, hey, let's post just about Plexus, or even just you drinking your pink drink, because sometimes we fall into that rut too. Hey, I got my pink drink today. Yeah, that's the 5th time you posted that this week, okay? You don't want to do that. You want to keep it mixed up so it constantly remains entertaining and interesting, and it attracts the kind of people that you want to be attracting. So we all know those negative Nellies that are out there that occasionally will throw a post about how their life is so miserable. And what crosses my mind is that a lot of those people promote products of some sort. And I think, oh, honey, do you have any clue what that one negative Nelly post just did for all the viewers of your audience in Facebook? So we just have to be mindful. And it's not to say you can't have a bad day. And it's not to say that you can't be real, right? I'm not saying be fake. I'm just saying be very genuine. And whatever you're putting out there has to be a reflection upon who you want to attract. So that's my number 1 tip. You know, the other thing I was thinking about is as you're posting, especially if you're new, it's a shock when you get somebody who's negative on your post. You put something out there, fantastic, you're so excited about this pink drink you've started drinking and you're feeling great. And lo and behold, somebody comes along and puts something ugly down in the comments. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Okay. Here's the way I always say to handle that. Your Facebook is your Facebook, okay? This isn't a free-for-all. Yes, you're friends with people, but you do not have to tolerate negativity. I don't. That's my motto. I don't tolerate negative because I don't want to attract negative. Those kind of people tend to freak me out and bring me down, and I'm not willing to give up minutes of my life because of it. So I don't tolerate it, and for me, I delete. If they make a comment on there that's just ugly, I just delete it and go, oh, well, moving on, bless and release, right? The other thing you can do if you feel like it's necessary is you can respond to them and be very professional, very polite, and just remind them that thank you for your opinion, but obviously I really love my pink drink or whatever. You can handle it however you want, but don't be afraid to let some people go. Just because you're Facebook friends doesn't mean you have to let them post negatively on your page. Consider that one negative post tends to throw everybody else's brain into negative mode. So that's my other number 1 tip. Don't put up with it. You don't have to. It's your Facebook.
Those are great tips. Thank you for sharing. What does everybody else do? I'm curious because we all have that negative comments here and there. Do you respond? Do you delete? What?
I would, I tell my team to delete it and then private message that person, have a private conversation with them. And if they're still, really negative, then I just explain to them that, I'm trying to grow, a business, and, consider the fact that your one negative post could really deter that for me. And would you, as my friend, do you really want that? Do you really want to, keeping me from being successful? And I think usually people are like, oh man, I didn't even think about that. I didn't realize that something that I would say would do that.
Yeah. The other day, somebody posted something. It wasn't super negative, but it was a common objection. It was like, oh yeah, that thing that you talk about is so great, but it's too expensive. Well, I actually turned it around and used it as an opportunity to share that it's not that expensive and to share my experience with it. And in the process, I thought about deleting it, but in the process, it ended up boosting my post. A whole bunch of people got to see it, and they saw how I responded to that objection, because that is the number 1 objection. It's too expensive. So I turned it into a different opportunity. But a lot of times I will delete or message and say, hey, not okay. So thank you. Those are great tips. Okay, so we have Ansley, I think, is next. Is that right?
Okay, I'm so excited about this. I love social media. So I said that I am in England, and so honestly, I have grown my entire business on Facebook. I'm just now starting to try to work my way into Instagram, but it is not my forte yet, and I still have no clue what it is even all about, but I'm working on it. But so for the most part, I've done everything on Facebook, and so even if you have a small network, I had 50 people on my Facebook when I started Plexus. So even if you have a small network, or you are far away from, people, you can still grow a business. And so I think that's really important to know. My favorite thing though is to tell people to be personal. Okay. So especially when you're starting out and you're new, it's kind of instinctual to post graphics and to post Plexus, information about products and things like that. And so I really encourage my team to be personal. So if you are wanting to talk about Mega X, or you're wanting to talk and you're talking about great sleep, then post something about, I think one time I was staying at my mom's house and I was in a really uncomfortable bed, and I, shared something and explained to them how so thankful that I have my Mega X, because even when you're at somebody else's house and you're not in the comfort of your own home, you can still get great sleep. Using your posts to be personal, but then share a little twist on that. The other thing is you don't have to say Plexus. I'm sorry, my phone is like, can y'all hear that, or is it okay? But the other thing is just being, on top of being personal, is being able to, I'm sorry, y'all, I totally lost my train of thought. Okay, so personal, no graphics. Share from your heart. You do not have to share Plexus. Okay. You do not have to say Plexus in every single post that you have. You can say, once you've established your business with Plexus, people know I'm the crazy Plexus lady. I don't have to say Plexus at all. But if I talk about how I woke up, got my kids to school, cleaned my house, ran my errands, got on the treadmill, ran 2 miles, and still have energy, they know why I still have energy. But just sharing about the fact that I have this great energy, people want that. People that know me know that this has changed everything for me. Most people that met me prior to Plexus here locally knew that I was sad. I was struggling. I wasn't able to get out of bed. I was passing the iPad to my kids so that I could sleep in. I was missing every workout, those kind of things. So they know that this is different. And so I love just being really personal. The other thing is be consistent. Whether you're going to post 2 times a day or once a day, just post every day. When you guys have all kind of talked about a little bit about algorithms without saying algorithms, but when you talk about boosting your posts or posting something that's interactive, the reason we do that is so that our Facebook algorithms are up, so that other people outside of our, Plexus communities are seeing our posts. And so being consistent is really important. I like to compare it to, just to other people, just to be able to say, okay, think about the other network marketing people that think about something that they've done, and think about this. They post, let's say they're talking about makeup. Okay, so they're posting about makeup and they're talking about it for 2 weeks, and they're so great, and they're posting their pretty faces every day and all of that. And then all of a sudden they took a 2-week vacation and they're not posting about their makeup anymore. It's our instinct to think it's either not making them any money, they don't love it as much anymore, or they're just not that into it. If you're not posting every single day, people are going to assume either you're not as successful as you said you were, or it's not working the same way it was working for you, those kind of things. And so we want to make sure we are very, very consistent. I want to touch on that with some ways to work smarter and not harder. Okay, so if we are worried about being consistent, but we're busy, because we're all busy, right? We all have some kind of excuse that we don't have time for something. One of those things for me was the fact that, I'm a military spouse, so and because I am overseas, my American team wants me at dinner time, and they want me when my husband is home. And that was really tough on us in the beginning of this journey. My daytime was fine with my England people, and my kids were at school and that kind of thing. I was able to function fine. But then all of a sudden I needed to be needed all the time, and I didn't have the extra time I wanted to with my family. So I learned about this beautiful thing called Buffer. Okay, if you haven't heard of Buffer, look it up. It's a great app that you can use. You can load your Facebook posts directly into buffer. And that will, let's say you set it up to go off twice a day. You pick the time. I like to do one in the morning and one in the evening because I'm pretty good at getting on in the middle of the day, but I'm busy first thing in the morning and I'm busy in the evening. And so if I have those set up, even if they're your personal posts or if they're your Plexus posts, whatever they are, you can still set them up that way. So that way that they are continuing to go off. When I go, when I take a couple of days, take a weekend to spend with my family, I can load up buffer and I can have those going on. I don't have to worry about whether or not I'm going to take time away from my family to post on Facebook. And my husband really likes that I'm not glued to my phone every 5 seconds. So that is, I like buffer, but you can also use Facebook now. Facebook allows you to set a timer for your, sorry, my kids just came in. Let me close my door.
Can I add something about the timing while she's away?
Yeah, I was going to ask about that 2 times and how many times we post.
Oh, I was just going to say for me, I post first thing in the morning because I think that then it's utilized all day long and gets a chance to be seen. But what I find really effective, if I get a real serious post I want all my audience to see or be a part of, I usually post it around 3 or 4 in the afternoon, because it seems like as soon as people get off work or they get home or whatever, they're on Facebook. And so my evening tends to be the time when I'm getting my non-Plexus people liking my posts. So it's been different from what I originally did. I tried to do like morning, lunch, and at night. And now I really just do my post first thing in the morning, let that ride all day, and then I'll do some right around 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the timing is really important, and each person's timing is going to be different, like based on where you live, where your friends are located, you know, what their work schedules are. I always tell people too to go back through their Facebook like a week or two and look to see which has the most interaction, which has the most likes, what time of day was it, what day of the week was it, and what kind of post was it, so that you know, okay, well, this is a really good time. This was a really good post because of, and kind of look at what helps it, you know, be boosted in the algorithm, like Ansley said.
So so when I'm going to go back to the no graphics. The reason I say no graphics, now, of course, occasionally I do post a graphic. I don't want you to go to my Facebook and say, hey, on this day you posted a graphic. Occasionally I do, but here's why I don't. Same thing when I tell you I compared about being consistent. Think about your friends, again, those friends that are network marketing, we have a lot of them, right? Think about something that they sell. What is your instinct to do when you see a graphic? When I see a legging graphic or a makeup graphic or, you know, a candle graphic, I know exactly what that is and I know I don't need it and I scroll past, right? So people are going to do the same thing for you. What happens when they become personal? What happens if they sell makeup and they're all dolled up and they're in their fancy clothes and they're posting a picture, but they're talking about their makeup? Your instinct is to stop and go, oh, what are they doing tonight? Where are they going? What are they, you know, you want to know about them. Or maybe they're in their favorite pair of leggings in front of the mirror, or they're, you know, doing something where you're going to stop and you're going to go, what is it that they're saying? Because look, we're nosy. That's just reality. We are nosy as human beings, you know. Or maybe it's scents. Maybe it's candles. Maybe they posted a picture of a big apple pie, but then when you read their post, they're talking about how their house smells like a big apple pie. I guarantee you people are going to stop and read that before they're going to read a graphic. And so if you do that the same way in your Plexus posts, you're going to get a lot more traffic on your Facebook. I did take a couple of notes on when y'all were talking, and I love that we were talking about staying positive, because I think that's really important, and being your own brand. So everybody should go and look at their Facebook today and scroll through and look and see if you would want to join your team, because when people want to join success, people want to join positivity, and they want to join fun. And so if you're not oozing those things, when they're ready to be with somebody on Plexus, it's not going to be you. You've got to be the one that they want to join. And that goes back to consistency. If you message somebody, private messaging is a big thing on Facebook, okay, or any social media. If you message somebody, you message them one time, And then 6 months later, they had another friend that's messaged them 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. When they're ready to join Plexus, they're going to go to the person that pursued them. They're going to go to the person that they think is successful in Plexus, not the person that forgot about them. I'm not saying bug them, not saying hound them, but still be available. Show them that you want to be, you want them to be, on your team.
Well, Ansley, that goes along with posting about the business, because I don't know how many times someone has reached out and said, hey, I'm coming to you because I know you know how to do the business. And there's so many people who don't just need our products, they need the opportunity. And we sometimes get scared to talk about that. So I 100% agree with what you just said. It's perfect, but make sure that we're including the business side of it too.
Yeah, and I think that consistency is so key. That word in general with Plexus and with anything we want to be successful with. I tell my customers, my ambassadors, you have to be consistent with the products, but we have to also be consistent and message that we're sending and with our follow-up. All of those are really, really important for our success in general. So that's huge.
One other thing in that, when you're talking about being your own brand, think about your lifestyle, just like you were saying about the coffee, the food that you're eating and the exercise that you're doing is important too. Because if you're talking about health and wellness, and you may not be promoting the weight loss side, but if you're talking about health and wellness and you're only making posts about block with those donuts, people are not going to take you seriously. You want to be sharing about the positive things that Plexus is changing for you, and when you are active, make sure that you're sharing about that, because that is a big part of what we do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I love how you talk too about those graphics and things like that. That's one of my biggest pet peeves when people go and just Google Plexus and Plexus Slim or whatever, and they pull some canned graphic and it looks all fuzzy and it looks like it's been shared 1,000 times, and it just doesn't make any kind of connection at all. So whenever you can have that picture of yourself for your family or something that's real and right in front of you, people are going to stop and want to see what that is. So I think that was a really, really good point. And we kind of touched on this a little bit, but like number of times that you post, times a day, what kinds of things do you really do to kind of mix it up? Maybe you don't have a weight loss story, but you want to share about it. How do you incorporate all the different things that we have to make yourself well-rounded on Facebook or social media?
I think I said I shoot for about 3 times a day to post. And I think really thinking of who your target audience is. Of course, everybody, could benefit from Plexus, but when you make a post, who are you speaking to? So if I make one during the day, I'm going to speak to the stay-at-home moms like me. And so that's my target. And I'm going to talk about, maybe like Ansley said, I'm not even going to mention Plexus, but I'm going to talk about my mom energy, and I'm taking the kids here and there, and I'm still able to go for a run, and just how great you feel. And then definitely just mixing it up. I do think you need to speak to the green personalities occasionally too, and give some of the educational. So I love educating my audience on gut health. It's a passion of mine, even though I'm not green. But mixing it up with the fun, like I'm a blue. You need to talk to the yellows, you need to talk to the greens and the reds. And the reds, there's some videos on that I know on YouTube, but just kind of mixing it up to the different types of people that you want to talk to.
Right. I think the one thing we haven't really mentioned, and I would encourage everybody, is to become familiar with compliance. Because if you go pull a graphic off of Google and it's old, chances are it's not even valid, and you don't want to risk your business by posting things that are inappropriate at this point. So if you're going to talk about gut health, which I think is an amazing topic, I'm part green, remember? So I love all the facts and all that stuff. Pull our great graphics out of your back office and use those. Share those videos. Use the things that Plexus has already given you. It takes the guesswork out of it, and then honestly, you know that you're sharing factual information.
Absolutely, yeah, very important. That word, because a lot of those are super non-compliant. Now you go back and look, and you're like, oh, you can't do that. So yeah, that's a very good point. And always ask your upline. If you're not sure, ask somebody, before you post it out there. And don't be offended if your upline or somebody, sends you a message that says, hey, you can't use that. I mean, we are just trying to protect our company. I always feel, I don't feel bad as much as I used to, but you just want to educate everybody. And there's definitely a way to educate them in the right way so they get the right information and, you know, believe in our company and what the products can do.
I love what Ashlie said about posting for your personalities. If you don't know what the color personalities are, I highly suggest you look into that and know what you are, but also know how to attract other personalities. You know, Ashlie said she's a blue personality, so she's all about fun. And so if you know that, then when you're with your Plexus teammates, snap a picture of you doing something fun or talk about the fact that you're going to convention or, you know, in Las Vegas or something, and make sure you're posting about that, because that is going to attract somebody that wants to have fun. And then the same way with the other personalities, post, you know, make sure that you're talking about things that are different personalities and not just your own.
Yeah, good point. And if you don't know that book, it's the 4 Color Personalities. It's Big Al Schreider. 4 Color Personalities for MLMs, I think is the title. Really short, quick read, and there's a ton of YouTube videos out there and websites where you can test your own personality as well. Any closing comments? Did we cover most things?
I would just say don't give up, and expect yourself to be learning on the whole journey. We're still learning, and we've been in this for a long time. So I'm excited that I got to be on here with you guys today to share, because I think it's such a great way to show our one Plexus attitude, and I'm here to help just like all of you. So I guess that's the other thing, is if somebody has an issue or a question, don't feel bad about reaching out even beyond your own team. There's tons of sideline sisters that we got your back.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think we're all on different teams, right? I don't think there's any kind of connection here. We just happen to all be in a chat thread together, and, you know, we do have some amazing sideline support too. Just tap into your resources. Exactly.
I think that's great. I think what she said as well, like not only, you know, using your sidelines to bounce ideas, but friend more Plexus people, because that's where you're going to get new and fresh ideas. And so if you're struggling finding something to post on social media, or if you're in the same circle as people in your team, branch out and find some people that are not. And we know we're one Plexus. My team knows if I share something, it's free game. And that's, and we just are always, we stick to that and make sure that everybody knows that, and one Plexus, and we feel confident that, you know, if somebody shares it, then they know that it was free game.
Yeah. One thing I would say though, when you're pulling somebody's post and sharing it, I like to kind of stagger it out. I won't do it like 5 minutes after they share it, because then you see the same thing over and over again, but give them some love on their post. If you decide to save somebody's or share it, go comment and like it for them. You know, you would expect the same back, and that really supports one another. Whenever somebody Plexus comments or likes my comments on my post, I go to their page right after and I do the same thing back for them, just to kind of support everybody.
And that helps us, again, the same thing with the algorithms, you know, it boosts their posts. So if you have other friends, you know, Plexus friends, and it comes up in your newsfeed, you know, just leave a quick comment, because that really does help them.
Yeah.
If you guys want more info, of course, I think it all comes down to just being yourself, be vulnerable, and sharing your story. But if you want more info on like what they're talking about, if you read the book Jab, 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 Right Hook, it's by Gary Vee. It's a long last name, but he goes into the exact way Facebook works. And basically, the more people that comment and like and interact with your posts, the more likely it's going to be seen. And so sharing is not a good idea. So that's just to go into more depth, but I agree. And sideline sisters are the best. I'm not afraid ever to ask someone, hey, I just made a really vulnerable, scary post, or doing a live, Facebook Lives, by the way, we didn't mention, but they are amazing, and people want to know what you're doing. You know, they work. But I'm not afraid to go to my sidelines or upline, hey, comment on my post, give me some support. So don't ever be afraid to ask for support on your post.
You reminded me of one more thing, and that is, if you're okay with it, set your Plexus posts to public. I don't do that of pictures of my kids or, you know, personal things that I post out there, but I do that practically on every single business post that I'm making. So I don't know how successful that is with the algorithms and how many people it actually reaches in the public, but I figure it can't hurt, right?
Well, one of the reasons that that's so important is that, let's say you posted a testimony or you posted something personal and somebody loved it and shared it. If it's not public, only people that are friends with that person that are on your Facebook list will be able to see it. So if it's public and they share it, then all of their friends will be able to see it.
And then anybody can comment on it as well. Even if you're not friends, like I don't friend every single person, but if I'm making those public, then anybody can just go comment on it, which really does help to boost it up. So
I could talk about this stuff forever. Maybe we need to do a second one. You guys are awesome so much for including me, and I can't wait to work together again.
Yes, thank you all so much. Enjoy your day, and I can't wait to be able to share this with our teams.
Thanks,
Thank
Stacey.
you.
Bye. Thank you.